kitty. She couldn't help but stare at her kitty cat in awe. She finally understood why her loving pet had been making so much noise. But only a few seconds later, the kitty let out a chilling howl that completely startled her. Petrified, she took a peek outside, only to realize that there wasn't a stray cat outside. But what could it be? Were they in danger? Not even in her wildest dreams could she have guessed what had happened next. Mama's fur baby. Waffles was your typical pampered and spoiled cat who loved nothing more but to lounge around the house with his human mama. He'd only stepped outside a handful of times, but when the cat showed up with a new and unexpected love interest, she didn't know what to do. What was this supposed to mean? A wild spirit. House cats still share many traits with their wild, undomesticated cousins, especially when you compare cats to the way that dogs have evolved. Almost every cat has the imperative need to roam free. They love having the freedom to go anywhere they please. But most importantly, they love being able to meet anyone they please. And that's one of the secrets this kitty was keeping from his owner. Cats and dogs. Dogs and cats have evolved in completely opposite ways. Felines are still super independent and in total control of their lives, which is one of the reasons why many of us simply adore them. Any cat owner would tell you how heartwarming it is to know a cat chose them even though they were not bred to do so. This isn't something new. Apparently, humans have been identifying with either cats or dogs for ages, dating all the way back to the Stone Age. But recent studies suggest that our beloved pets might be a lot more closely related to one another than we actually thought. Are you a dog or a cat person? Humanity has divided itself into two groups. One that appreciates the loyalty and never-ending affection you get from a dog, and another group that praises a cat's independent nature. But little did we know that cats and dogs are actually related to one another by a common ancestor, as they belong to the order Carnivora. But what does that mean? So alike. Cats and dogs are both mammals who are both members of the order Carnivora, along with a myriad of other animals, such as skunks, hyenas, bears, and even sea lions. But most importantly, cats and dogs are both domestic animals that share pretty much the same behavioral traits. Don't let anyone tell you that these furry creatures are complete opposites. They both have the capacity to bond with their fellow humans and have social interactions and friendships with humans and animals. And yes, that includes cats. Social butterflies. Don't believe the hype. Cats are not antisocial beings who love to wander on their own and hate the sight of people. They're just as sociable and loving as dogs. And if you're the proud owner of both cats and dogs, then you're probably aware that they both wait for you when you get back home. They both greet you in bed when you wake up early in the morning, and they both love to venture on their own and make new friends. Wild buddies. And while some people don't think cats can be that social, they couldn't be more wrong. Both cats and dogs have friends scattered around the neighborhood that might even include your unsuspecting neighbor, another dog or cat, or even an entirely different species. Natural skills. Waffles and his ancestors still share quite a bond, particularly when it comes to hunting, turning into an impressive predator who's able to hunt in almost pitch-black darkness. He definitely has some extra advantage, that's for sure. Waffles' incredible hearing range is pretty much above all carnivores. But what does he do with such standout talent? Warm kitty, soft kitty. So who should Waffles thank for these impressive hunting skills? Well, cats have remained pretty wild, even though they're domesticated creatures at this point. Humans have been able to breed dogs in a way that allows us to control their temperament and behaviors. We taught them how to protect our homes and how to play fetch, but cats are a whole different story, especially when it comes to their love life. So when Waffles' owner figured out what was going on, she was left completely speechless. Odd noises. She was stunned to hear some strange noises coming from the first floor, so she decided to walk down the stairs after a few minutes of hearing those sounds. Her usually laid-back cat was meowing dramatically, which left her completely in shock. Both terrified and amazed, she couldn't help to take a peek outside, and that's when she saw a huge spotted cat snuggled up next to Waffles. Homely cat gets a new friend. After bumping into this pretty bizarre scene, Emma, Waffles' human mama, was a bit taken back. She'd never imagined that her pampered and spoiled little house cat would even want to be near another cat. She'd even tried to adopt a few kittens from a shelter once, but Waffles was having none of it and threw a major fit. So imagine her surprise when she saw her kitty cat totally relaxing next to his new friend, purring and having a blast. Soon enough, Waffles' new buddy would surely want to meet his human mom. Thinking about this cat friendship, Emma wasn't too convinced about letting this friendship go on, though. She knew her pet far too well, and although both cats seemed to be having the time of their lives and getting along just fine, Emma knew better. After all, there's a reason why we call them cat fights. She was petrified about Waffles getting hurt, and when she took a closer look, she realized that Waffles' new buddy wasn't actually a cat. Best wild buddies. Waffles' curiosity kept growing the longer he stared at the gigantic cat playing in his backyard. He spent most of the day following the bobcat around, jumping all over the house just to follow this bigger than usual fluffy cat. Strangely enough, Waffles' new pal would also follow his every move, even coming back with him to play around. But one day, all hell broke loose. Stormy weather. On a freezing, chilly day, the forecast anticipated some more snow would be heading their way, and Waffles was becoming restless. His new lady friend hadn't been back to pay him a visit. He waited days on end, going from window to window, trying to get a glimpse of her outside again. But Emma was concerned as well. She wondered if something had happened to her, but all she could do was hope she was safe. Days and days. Time went by and the chilling winter was coming to an end. Spring was right around the corner, but Waffles was still pretty sad about his friend. Ever since she'd stopped coming over, it seemed like he was stuck in a miserable state of sadness. He was losing weight at an alarming rate, and Emma began to think he was suffering from a broken heart. She had to do something fast to save her beloved pet, so she took him to the vet. Surely they would know how to heal him, right? Deep-rooted sadness. Emma was getting to a point where desperation was taking the best of her. She needed to save her cat from the state of depression that was eating away at him. The vet had put Waffles on mood-stabilizing drugs to help with his depression, but it wasn't really working. He still wasn't eating properly. All Waffles wanted to do was stare at the garden where he had last seen his fluffy playmate. Emma couldn't stop wondering what she would do if her cat's buddy never showed up again. No one expected this. Everything was normal that morning, up until the moment Emma heard Waffles meowing loudly and scratching the window's glass. He was trying to get out. Emma rushed down in a hurry, thinking that finally the missed bobcat was back. She even brought a camera with her to record the beautiful moment. Waffles was joyfully rubbing up against the window pane. And there she was. Waffles' wild furry buddy was relaxing, soaking up the sun, just like her very own Waffles loves to do. But Emma was taken aback by something that was hiding in the bushes nearby. She held her breath, trying to figure out if she was seeing things right. Waffles' playground. Emma and her cherished cat were left flabbergasted at the outstanding scene that was unraveling right in front of them. Not one, not two, but 3 tawny kittens came out of the bushes, roaming carefree. It kind of felt like their mother had told them that it was a safe place for them to play around. They probably knew that Waffles was indeed their friend. Emma couldn't believe her eyes, but she kept paying close attention to see how Waffles would react. There's no place like home. On their own grounds, where they've marked their territory, wildcats will mark at least 2 or 3 different cave-like dens or rocky hollow areas for shelter, far away from prying eyes. But this was a special case, as clearly this bobcat mama felt like Waffles' backyard was the perfect home to raise a feline family. Mama knows best. Bobcats are always prepared to take care of the little ones in their pack. They have backup cribs around the area, taking up to 18 square miles in size. Mama Bobcat has to make sure that she'll be able to move her babies from one den to the next just to keep predators at bay. Emma was kind of proud to find out that this wild mama considered her house as a safe place for her little kittens, especially knowing how protective bobcats are of their offspring. Cuteness overload. Emma was able to breathe again when Waffles' feline buddy came back, and now he was slowly but surely going to be back to his old self. He actually seemed to be happier than before, thanks to the 3 extra wild kitties that were eager to play around in his garden. And honestly, who could blame him? Even Emma was totally charmed by their fur babies roaming free around her backyard. And although she wasn't really part of their upbringing, she sure did watch TV documentaries to know a bit more about these special creatures. Nature was wise. At first, Emma was scared about Waffles getting too excited, wanting to meet up with the wildcat face to face. But he proved to be far wiser than she gave him credit for. He was just as happy to press his fluffy nose right up to the window pane and watch them grow from afar. Perhaps Waffles understood what an honor it meant to be chosen by this family of wildcats. living the life. Waffles' owner realized soon enough that her homely cat loved his furry best friend and all her tiny babies. But he was also smart enough to know that he should never try to venture outside when the wildcat family was paying them a visit. Now Emma and Waffles are going about their days, watching this wild family of wildcats play around on their backyard.